Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to talk about something you'd think is pretty simple, putting up a fence in Cheyenne, Wyoming. But, as you'll see, it's packed with surprises. It's way more than just sticking some posts in the ground, so let's dive right in.
I mean, getting a new fence, it seems so straightforward, doesn't it? You just need a line for your property, a little privacy, maybe keep the dog from running off. You figure you'll pick a style you like, get a price, and boom, you're done. What more is there to it?
Well, if you're here in Wyoming, That way of thinking is a recipe for disaster. The conditions we have here, they flip the script entirely. It is a completely different story.
So yeah, it's more than just posts and panels. This is what we call the Wyoming Challenge. See, a fence out here isn't just a suggestion of a property line. It's a serious, heavy-duty piece of your home's structure. It has to pull its weight in ways a fence in some quiet, calm suburb just doesn't.
I mean, it has to be built tough. We are talking about a structure that's got to take a real beating from these punishing winds we get. It's got to survive weather that can change on a dime. And it even needs to hold up against, everything else. Animals, kids playing, the gardener's weed whacker, you name it.
And all that brings us to our first surprising truth, the real cost of going cheap. It's so tempting to just grab the lowest quote you can find. But here, in Wyoming, that is a massive trap.
Fencing pros will tell you this, and they're dead on. Focusing only on the cheapest option is a huge mistake when you're talking about something that's supposed to protect and beautify your home for years to come.
And this slide just lays it all out perfectly. It's all about price versus value. Yeah, you get those upfront savings, but where do they come from? They come from shoddy materials and labor that doesn't know what they're doing. And the long-term cost? Oh, it's brutal. We're talking constant, expensive repairs, maybe even replacing the whole thing in just a few years. And the kicker? The manufacturer's warranty is probably gone. So that cheap fence, it almost always ends up being the most expensive one you could possibly buy.
Okay, so let's get to our next truth. And honestly, this one might be the biggest one of all. Your biggest risk. Your biggest point of failure, it isn't a freak hailstorm or a blizzard. Nope, it's the person you hire.
Look, the reality is the fencing business is super easy for, let's say, less than professional folks to jump into. And when you hire them, you're opening yourself up to some huge risks. Your fence, it's just not going to last as long. That manufacturer's warranty you thought you had? Poof, gone, because they installed it wrong. Their workmanship guarantee? It's worthless when they won't answer your calls. And then there's property damage, think concrete splattered all over your driveway or your car, and the absolute worst-case scenario. An uninsured worker gets hurt on your property. Guess who could be on the hook for that? You.
And that's why this quote just nails it. You think you're saving a bit of cash up front, but the potential fallout, financially, legally, it's just a price you can't afford to pay. It's just not worth it.
And just look at this table. It makes the difference crystal clear. A professional contractor, they're licensed and insured. That's your protection. They make sure the manufacturer's warranty is valid. They give you a real guarantee on their work. And a lot of them are part of organizations like the American Fence Association, which means they're held to a much higher standard. The other guy, not so much.
All right, moving on. Let's talk about a couple of things that are absolutely crucial for a fence that lasts, but are so often completely overlooked. These are the essentials people forget.
First up, hyper-local knowledge. I'm talking about hiring someone who is actually from the Cheyenne community. They know our crazy climate. They know our soil. They know exactly what works here and what doesn't, because they live here too. They're not just some random contractor. They're basically your neighbors, and they have a local reputation to protect.
Okay, and the second big overlooked essential? Believe it or not, it's the gate. It's funny, right? People will obsess over the fence panels, the style, the color, and then the gate is just this afterthought. But here's the thing, a fence is only as strong as its weakest point, and that is almost always the gate.
Just think about it. The gate is the one part of your fence you actually use, probably every single day. It's got moving parts, it takes a ton of wear and tear. So trying to save a few bucks on the gate, that's just setting yourself up for headaches down the road. And hey, while we're on it, let's talk about automatic gate openers. You might think, oh, that's a luxury. But just picture this. It's a howling Wyoming snowstorm, and you don't have to get out of your warm car to wrestle with a frozen gate. I promise you, in that moment, you'll know it was worth every single cent.
So, okay, with all this stuff to think about, how do you even begin to plan smartly? Well, the good news is technology has made this whole process way easier and more open than it's ever been. Gone are the days of having to schedule an appointment and wait around for someone to come out just to get a ballpark idea of the cost. Now you can actually start planning your perfect fence right from your couch, totally pressure-free. You're in control.
So how does it work? A lot of the best companies have these instant online quote tools now. It's super simple. You just go to their website, and in 3 steps, you're set. First, you use a satellite view to look at your own property. Second, you literally just draw the fence line right on the map where you want it. And third, bam! You can instantly compare styles and prices for different materials. Want to see the difference between wood and vinyl? Click. It's an amazing way to play around with your options and figure out what really works for your budget.
So, you see, we really need to redefine what a fence is. It's not just a product you buy. A fence is a long-term investment. It's an investment in your home's security, in its value, and in how it looks and feels.
And that really brings us to the final big question. Now that you know all these surprising truths, now that you know what it really takes to build a fence that will last here in Wyoming, the question isn't what's the cheapest price anymore. The real question you have to ask yourself is, what is the true long-term value I expect from my property's fence? And thinking about it that way, well, that's how you make a decision that you'll be happy with for a very, very long time.